say miss, I do not want to judge. Yeah, nuts with my gang. You me just a stain.
Your explicit crew, what it do? Today we're reacting to top 10 most evil kids of all time. Let's get into it. I know these some badass kids, man.
You know the saying, kids will be kids? We usually say that to describe a misbehaving child. But some kids refuse to be kids and are downright evil instead. Stick around until the end to find out how old the youngest kid in Indiana to be tried as an adult was when he committed his crime. Before we begin, make sure to like this video and subscribe to The Richest. Also, check out our community tab for more neat content. Now, here are the most evil kids who ever lived.
I guarantee you none of these kids got ass whoopings. I guarantee you.
Social media has done wonders for our world when it comes to communication. Yet the downside to it is that people can post whatever content they want, and inappropriate content will stay up until it's reported and removed. One such disturbing event took place in July 2014 when two teenage girls videoed themselves lighting a tortoise on fire and then stomped on it. The girls were saying things like, "Burn, baby," and "Now you're scared of us, huh?" The video went viral and horrified people all over the world.
What?
The girls were arrested.
What did the turtle do to you?
To have their identity
y'all
revealed.
terrible.
Then 18-year-old Jennifer Green was taken into custody along with the 15-year-old friend. Green was charged as an adult, while her friend had her case handled in juvenile court. Those who know Jennifer were shocked, as she'd always been gentle with animals in the past.
Gentle my ass.
Christian Romero. How old does one have to be to take a life? While we sometimes see kids in the double-digit age committing such heinous acts, Christian Romero was just 8 years old when he took the life of his father and his father's co-worker. Christian used a .22 caliber hunting rifle to finish the job. What could have possibly driven Christian to do such a thing? According to his grandmother, his father, Vincent Romero, was incredibly harsh on him. Christian had apparently said numerous times that his 1,000th spanking would be his last. The night before Christian committed the crime, he had been spanked 5 times for not bringing papers home from school. In 2015, Christian was granted permission to attend high school and live with a foster family. His mother objected, saying that the judge didn't know what the boy was capable of. Christian was also ordered to undergo psychiatric evaluations at different stages of his life. Today, it seems that Christian has been freed and is quietly living his life. Jordan Brown. In February 2009, a small Pennsylvania community was shocked to learn that 11-year-old Jordan Brown had taken the life of his father's fiancée, Kenzie Hook. What makes this story even more tragic was that Kenzie was 8 months pregnant at the time, and the baby did not survive the ordeal. Jordan had used a youth-sized 20-gauge shotgun that he had gotten as a gift for Easter. Kenzie's 4-year-old daughter was the one who found Kenzie lifeless in bed. The shotgun was also found on the path that Jordan always took to go to the bus stop. Jordan's case sparked a lot of controversy, and he was initially going to be tried as an adult.
Why do y'all give these kids guns? They be like 13. What the fuck they need a gun for?
He was found guilty and placed in juvie until 2016. He is now on probation until he turns 21. Dangerous sleepover. In May 2018, in Texas, a 13-year-old girl was charged with taking the life of one of her friends, Nyla Lightfoot. The evil teen committed the act at a sleepover at her house that she had invited Nyla to. Originally, Nyla's mother said no to the idea, but the 13-year-old said that Nyla needed to come over to get some clothes that she had left in the apartment. Apparently, Nyla and the 13-year-old then got into an argument that turned deadly, leaving Nyla with knife wounds. The medical examiner said that Nyla didn't survive because she had been hit in her neck and chest. Nyla was remembered as someone who made straight A's and had lots of friends. The 13-year-old who took her life was taken into a juvenile detention facility and was not released back into custody of her parents. Because this story is so recent, we'll be watching to see how it all plays out. Daniel Bartlam. In 2011, 14-year-old Daniel Bartlam claimed that he lost control after engaging in an argument with his mother, Jacqueline. In his rage, Daniel grabbed a hammer and took his anger out on his mother. After that, he took to flames to dispose of her body. When questioned by the police, Daniel originally said that an intruder had broken into the house. However, after the police realized it was Daniel, he tried to use the argument story. But then, Daniel's computer was examined, and it was discovered that he was inspired by a plot from Coronation Street, in which a character named John Stape used a hammer to take the life of another character. Daniel had hit his mother 7 times before pouring gasoline all over her room and then lighting it on fire. His mother had to be identified using dental records. He was found guilty of his crimes and was placed behind bars for a duration of at least 16 years. Tristan Carilla. In October 2014, in Pennsylvania, 10-year-old Tristan Carilla was visiting his grandfather, who was the caretaker of 90-year-old Helen Novak. During the visit, Helen had reportedly yelled at Tristan because he went into her room to ask her a question. Instead of just accepting the incident, Tristan wanted revenge. He pushed her cane up against her throat for several seconds because he wanted to hurt her. But when you're 90 years old, like Helen was at the time, it's almost impossible to survive an attack like that. Tristan told his mother about the incident, and she immediately turned her son into the authorities. There, Tristan made a chilling confession and came clean about everything. The medical examiner said that Helen had passed from throat swelling and hemorrhaging. According to Tristan, he really didn't mean to take the old woman's life. He just wanted to hurt her. Tristan was originally going to be tried as an adult, but after speaking with a psychologist, it was recommended that he be tried as a juvenile. What is even more interesting is that there had been a media blackout on this case, which makes one wonder if Tristan was eventually released from custody.
Give me 5 minutes along with little
Carl
Trissy
Newton
Triss.
How young is too young? Well, we're about to tell you about a truly horrifying case.
That's all they need.
The evil kid in question was just 6 years old when he took the life of his 8-year-old friend with a firearm. In May 1929, in a small mining town in Kentucky, Carl Newton Mahan and his friend Cecil Van Hoos were looking for some pieces of scrap iron to sell. When Carl found some scrap metal, Cecil took it out of his hands and hit him. Enraged, Carl ran home, took his father's firearm, and ran back to Cecil. He then told Cecil that he was going to use the weapon on him, which he did. Once everyone discovered what had happened, Carl was tried just a few days later. He was convicted of manslaughter and sentenced to 15 years in reform school at 6 years old. However, Carl's family was able to come up with the $500 bail money, and they took him home. This case was very controversial, as kids that age already know the difference between right and wrong. Carl's life was short-lived, and he passed away at the age of 35 in 1958. Andrew Worst. Just 1 year before the tragedy at Columbine High School, Andrew Worst took the life of his teacher and injured 3 others at a Parker Middle School dance. On April 24, 1998, the 14-year-old Andrew arrived late at the banquet facility for the dance. He had left a disturbing note under his pillow.
That's why I be watching. I always watch people in high school. I be looking like, you know what I'm saying? They come in with a bad attitude or something. I be looking at them like.
What people didn't know was that Andrew had a weapon hidden under his jacket, and he used the firearm to take John's life. He then ran inside where the dance was taking place and opened fire, injuring another teacher and 2 students. The attack stopped after the owner of the banquet hall confronted Andrew with his own weapon and ordered him to stand down. Andrew was sentenced to 30 to 60 years behind bars. He has tried to appeal his sentence numerous times, but to no avail, as there is no evidence of a psychological disorder.
Right, keep your ass in there.
Shane Edward Brooks. In October 2017, 10-year-old Austin Almanza lost his life in Oklahoma after 13-year-old Shane Edward Brooks shot him with a crossbow. Shane had attacked Austin out of rage. The arrow had even hit Austin's 8-year-old brother in the arm, which says a lot about how much force there was behind it. Shane was initially charged with taking a life at the first degree, making him the youngest person in Oklahoma to receive that charge. He was originally going to be tried as an adult, but after a psychological evaluation, it was determined that he could be rehabilitated in juvie. Austin's parents were heartbroken when Shane was no longer going to be tried as an adult.
If I ever do a murder, I'm gonna ask for a psychological evaluation.
And his detention time will be limited to up to 5 months.
All these motherfuckers getting their charge reduced.
According to Austin's brother, Shane knew what he was doing, making the decision even more controversial, as it now seems that Shane is getting away with his crime. According to Shane, he feels remorse and wishes he could trade places with Austin. Paul Henry Gingerich. Paul Henry Gingerich was just 12 years old when he became the youngest person in the state of Indiana to be tried and sent behind bars as an adult. He and his 15-year-old friend, Colt Lundy, had taken the life of Colt's stepfather with a firearm. But this was no accident. Colt and Paul were charged with conspiring to commit the crime, and they were both found guilty and sentenced to 25 years behind bars. However, Paul only served 7 years of his sentence, and he was released when he was 19 to the custody of his mother. But life isn't all rainbows for him now. Paul has to wear an ankle bracelet, and he isn't allowed to leave his home except to go to work and legal appointments. How did he get out so early?
You did kill somebody.
He appealed for a new trial when he was 15 years old, and there were new regulations in place for minors, which worked in his favor. Colt didn't appeal, and he won't be released until 2021. Paul also has to wear his ankle bracelet to be tracked 24 hours a day until the end of July 2018.
getting out like the same year.
That's all for the most evil kids who ever lived.
Wow.
Are you flabbergasted by the actions of these kids? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.
Okay. That was very interesting. I hope y'all enjoyed that. Them kids need some ass whooping. Some of them needed Beyond Scared Straight, Jesus, Holy Waterloo, all that. So subscribe, like, comment, you know what I'm saying? Explicit Crew, Explicit Gang, we out. One love.